Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm Keith,
This is Brian.
and you're watching Less Magic, More Gathering. Today, we're going to go over our random card deck techs for our Dreamstealer deck and Secret Salvage. We've got two this week because we had a guest pick one of our random cards for us.
Yes.
Check the link in the description for Travis MTG, and let's get started. Alright guys, so here we're going to start with volume 10.1, our Secret Salvage deck. You having fun?
I just wanted to do something stupid.
So Secret Salvage, as you can see here, is a 5-drop. Exile a card, a non-land card from your graveyard, and then you can search your library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and put them into your hand. So I started out, the first build I did was a pirate deck, and it was a piece of crap.
It was a pile of shit.
It was a pile of garbage. I didn't like it very much, so I switched it up and went with something more my style. A little bit of a jank combo going on here.
You'll never get that combo.
I did. I got it last night. It's not that hard to get.
I don't believe you.
So, starting out, we've only got 8 creatures. We've got 4 copies of Brawl, Chief of Compliance, which makes all your instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less. And then if you counter a spell, you can draw a card, and then you have to discard 1. So you can get a little bit of card advantage with Brawl. And then we've got 4 copies of the Enigma Drake, 3-drop. Its power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. And it's real easy with this deck to make the Enigma Drake a big old flying freaking monster.
Big old flying turd.
So that's literally the only 2 creatures. There's no token creation. There's no other creatures coming. The main thing you have to do is protect Brawl, because he's going to be a big part of this combo as we set it up. Another big part of the combo is your Primal Amulet. Also makes your instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets a charge counter. When it has 4 on it, you flip it, and it flips into the Primal Wellspring. If you use mana created by the Primal Wellspring to cast an instant or sorcery, you copy that spell, and you can choose new targets.
That's not nice.
The flip side is fine, but it's not really an important part of the deck. One thing you'll notice, Primal Amulet is not a legendary the way Brawl is, so you can have multiples of the Primal Amulet out there, making your spells cost that much less. Quickly here, getting into the spells, the instants, we've got 4 copies of a Braid and 4 copies of Lightning Strike. The main purpose for these is going to be controlling the board. Since clearly we don't have a lot of creatures, you want to make sure your opponent doesn't either. So you can use your Abrade and your Lightning Strike on your opponent's creatures, or in game, if you get off this combo and it doesn't quite finish your opponent off, you can use those you can use the Lightning Strike straight to their stupid face.
Boom!
You can't use Abrade straight to their stupid face, but then we've got 4 copies of Hornswoggle, which is going to counter a creature spell, and then allow you to create a token. So you're getting the benefit of keeping the creatures off the board and having some mana later, which you're going to see when this combo really kicks in, where you're going to need that extra mana. So you're protecting yourself from attacks from creatures and creating some more pieces for this combo down the road here. Insidious Will, depending on what other pieces, if you've got Brawl and a Primal Amulet out there, then Insidious Will is a counter spell with options. It's normally a 4-drop. You can counter a target spell, you can choose new targets for a spell, or you can copy a spell and choose new targets for the copy. So it's very friendly when it comes to multiple options. It gives you a lot of different things you can do. A lot of times you're going to use these counter spells, the Insidious Will and the Supreme Will, to keep your Brawl alive, because he's, like I said, one of the more important pieces of the combo. And you can also redirect your opponent's removal spells, things like that. So Insidious Will and 2 copies of Supreme Will, which is going to either, like I said, allow you to counter a spell unless its controller pays 3, or you can look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library.
Who's
so
this Will guy?
He's Supreme. I don't know who he is.
Is he Insidious too?
That's a different guy. So it's gonna, if you're missing just one piece of your combo, you might use that Supreme Will at the end of your opponent's turn to look at the top 4 cards and hope you get one of those. So it's more card advantage. It's gonna help you out.
I like it.
Now, the last pieces of the combo here. Flame Lash, normally a 4-drop, deals 4 damage to target creature or player. If this thing really works out perfectly, then you get a Baral, a Primal Amulet or 2, and then this thing costs 1, maybe 2 to cast. So you cast a Flame Lash, follow that up with a Secret Salvage, exiling the Flame Lash. Go find your other 3 Flame Lash, put them in your hand, and cast them. So if you can do that all in one turn, which if you've got... I played one test game where I had a Baral and 2 Primal Amulets out, and I was able to cast... Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure I was reading Primal Amulet right. You may flip it. You don't have to. So I was able to cast a Flame Lash for 1 red, cast Secret Salvage for 2 black, and then I was able to go back and cast the other 3 Flame Lash after I had them in my hand, doing 16 damage in 1 turn. And then if you've got if you happen to have if you have an Enigma Drake on the board, then every one of those spells going into your graveyard is going to make it 1 bigger. So even if you haven't cast any other spells, there's nothing else in your graveyard, you're going to put a Secret Salvage and 3 Flame Lash in your graveyard. So your Enigma Drake is a 4/4 at that point. That's if you've cast nothing else throughout the whole game.
We know that's not going to happen.
But yeah, that's it's almost
like
impossible.
10 in there.
Then you can finish them off with that last 4 damage. So that is... The pieces of the combo that you have to have, obviously, are your Secret Salvage and Flame Lash. If those are the only 2 pieces, you can still do this. It's just going to cost you more, and it's going to probably take you multiple turns. If you stack in a Baral and Primal Amulets on top of that, it's just going to speed it up. So it's very easy to get the combo pieces. You only need 2, but if you get those other 2 pieces, it's really going to make things a lot faster and a lot more effective.
Yes.
So, that being said... our land base is pretty simple. 4 copies of each of the dual lands in the color. So we got a black-red, black-blue, and Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, Drowned Catacomb, and Spire Bluff Canal. We got 2 copies of Evolving Wilds, and then we've got 2 swamps, 4 mountains, and 4 islands. And in testing, we usually ended up with more black mana than we needed, because if you notice, these are all red and blue spells. This is the only black spell in the deck, but it never hurt us having that. So if you go down here and take a look, this deck on TCG Player right now you could get for $107.92.
Goodness gracious!
Which is not terrible. But
seen worse.
You could definitely make it cheaper by replacing your Dragon Skull Summit and Drowned Catacomb with the slow versions of the red and black and blue black land. And then Spire Bluff Canal is running $8.25 a piece. So that's
$35.
Big part of the cost right there.
Almost $35.
Baral is $5 a piece, but like I said, he's very important to the deck, so there's no replacing that. Everything else I think is under $2. So that's the deck. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over here and let Brian discuss with you the Dreamstealer deck.
Hey there, Brian here. Time to do the second half of our deck tech today. We have Dreamstealer. It was Travis MTG.
Travis MTG.
Travis
Link in the
MTG.
description.
Link is in the description somewhere down there. So he recommended this or requested this one. This Dreamstealer card, we have a friend who plays Magic with us at work, and he actually had one put together that he played quite a few times, and I didn't like it when he played against me because there's a reason for that. But what we did is we let him, we didn't let him, he gave us his version, and he did a few adjustments to do some things that he liked about it, and maybe some things that he corrected when he had it built the first time. Gave it to me. I played it a few times. I did a few more corrections, not anything extreme. I just felt like that it needed a little something else to give it the edge, which is fine. I'm not like an expert at this, but just the way I was seeing it, I was like, you know, from my standpoint, how I like some of the decks I put together, that's what I did. Not a huge change, but nonetheless, we went ahead and rolled with it. So this is what we got. I will start with the creatures, since it's a very low creature base, since our card of the deck is a creature anyway. We'll start out with our lower mana cost one. So we got Kite Sail Freebooter here, and that one is, if it'll stay highlighted, it's not liking me. Okay. 2-drop flying, and when it enters the battlefield, target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it, exile that card until the freebooter leaves the battlefield. So it's your base control stuff. You're taking a card from your opponent and putting a flyer out there. Nothing too exciting about him strength-wise, but still, nonetheless, you're making them, you know, lose a card in the process. So we went with 4 copies of that.
Take their fatal push!
Take it now. So next card we went with Gifted Aetherborn, another popular card for uncommon, being worth about $2. But most of you know how it works. But either way, it's a 2-drop, Death Touch, Lifelink, 2/3, and so it's just a simple card. A lot of people play against it, and I play against it. I see it, and most of the time when people are playing against it, and I've gotten a deck, they're like, "Oh, let's get rid of that," because it can be a pain in the butt. That's for sure. So there's 3 of those in there, and then went ahead and added Amit Eternal, which is a 3-drop 5/5, has a flick 3. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, you put a -1/-1 counter on it. So obviously his life total will go down each time that happens, but whenever he deals combat damage to a player, all those counters go bye-bye. So I like this card, obviously, for its purpose. It's cheap, it's a strong card, and then it kind of doesn't really force people, but I know when I was playing, and I've used it before, they seem to put more effort into playing spells when that's on the field of play to try to get rid of it. So by all means, if you're trying to get rid of my Amit Eternal by wasting spells just to get rid of it, then do it. Have fun with it. You know, there's other things in this deck that'll be more of a burden to you, but that's fine. So that's always fun. I went with three copies of that. And of course our Dreamstealer is a 3-drop menace. Whenever it deals combat damage, that player discards that many cards. It has Eternalize as well, so it can be a 4/4 from the graveyard, which would be more effective at that point for the discard option. So discarding and taking and, you know, making your opponent not have stuff to play is really the base concept of this, since that's what this card does. So right there is a creature base, obviously 4 of that, and I'm pretty sure I went over everything else as far as quantity. I hope I didn't miss anything. And so moving on to the enchantment spells, which is really what's going to help increase the durability of these creatures when they're on the field. So I went ahead and bounced in some blue. This was a straight mono black deck originally, but it was fine, but I just thought that it was missing an edge, and this is what I thought my edge should be, giving your creatures an option to fly. And that would help the Dreamstealer, because even if somebody is blocking you in the air, they got a flyer over there, they have to have 2. So they're not blocking you. So you can get that discard thing going. So obviously Cartouche Knowledge is a 2-drop enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. And then
email from Betty Crocker.
Hi Betty, what you cooking up tonight? Turbo tax as well. Hold on. Woo! So you get a +1/+1, it gives it flying. So that's always nice to have. I went with 2 copies of that, and then the next blue one, which is the only 2 blue spells I put in this deck for splash. One with the wind, cheap drop, 2-drop, it makes your creature fly, and it has a +2/+2. So that obviously works well in all aspects. So every creature you have out there, other than the Kite Sail Freebooter who's already flying, your Gifted Aetherborn is now that much more stronger, more of a pain in the butt. Your Dreamstealer is more effective, and your Amit Eternal, now they have to play 7 spells to get rid of it. So even if they got it down to 2 with three -1s, you pop one with the wind on there. Now they have to do 2 more. So that's going to really be a burden when you get that playing on the field of play. And then discard option, or discard part of this game is this is really going to take an effect with Raider's Wake. It's your 4-drop enchantment card, and whenever an opponent discards a card, that player loses 2 life. And has a raid as well. So at the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, then a target opponent discards a card. So there you have it in a nutshell, pretty much, if you understand how this combo works. You could have your Dreamstealer out there with Cartouche Knowledge on it. It's now a 2/3. It flies, isn't blocked. They have to discard 2 cards. There's 4 life. Since you attacked with the creature this turn, raid kicks in. They have to discard another one if they have cards in hand. But even if they don't, it still, it aggravates the crap out of them. But you get to target opponent, so you don't even have to, like if you're playing a team game, a 2-headed giant, if you're swinging it, one guy, he's got cards to discard, and the other guy only has 1, then you don't have to use, both options on the one player. But nonetheless, the life loss is really the key for that. So, and there's other cards in this deck that will obviously force more discard options when the time comes. So that had to be in there. This wasn't in here originally. The one he put together, he had it in the sideboard, but I thought with all the discarding, this really needs to be in there. I think he wanted to at first, but he did some other stuff, and since he didn't, I did. I'm like, I'll put it in there. Alright, so the next one, 3 copies of the Raider's Wake, in case I didn't say. Torment of Scarabs, with 2 copies of that. 4-drop, enchant player. At the beginning of enchant player's upkeep, that player loses 3 life unless he or she sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. So there you go, there's the discard option. So you're really forcing their hand at this point if that enchantment is on them. And Raiders Wake's out there, they decide they have to discard because they don't want to lose anything on the field. Then they don't want to lose 3 life. It's kind of a weird option. Yeah, I guess it depends on where you're at. You're either losing 2 life by discarding, or you're just taking the 3 life. You don't have to discard anything. So I would just lose the 3 life if that's the case. But they're still forced into it. So 2 copies of that. And then, of course, good old Trial of Ambition. 2-drop, target opponent sacrifices a creature. Then when a cartouche comes in, which we have, you put it back in your hand, you could use it for another one. So, whenever you're playing some of these enchantments, cartouches and trials, it's best to have at least a couple of each. This way the combo is effective. I mean, you don't have to, but you kind of feel like you're wasting those cards if you don't use them for what they're worth.
Ultimate combo.
Ultimate combo. All right, moving over to our spells, our sorceries. Went with a simple, easy one. A Duress. 1-drop, target opponent reveals his or her hand, choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Raiders Wake's on the field of play. There's 2 more life.
Is that legal in Standard?
It should be. I don't remember what set it's on. It's Hour of Devastation?
It's Ixalan.
Is it Ixalan? Why did I think it was Hour of Devastation too?
It's got the red-headed chick in the boat. I think it's her. It looks like her.
Is it still her? Yeah. So she's unfortunate. Apparently, the people that put her on the drawings, they're putting her everywhere. She does look like she's in duress, doesn't she? So, but yes, that's standard legal.
Yeah, look. See? That's a red-headed dude.
That's
or one ugly woman.
You're way off.
That might be one ugly woman. I can't tell.
Maybe if you're lucky, he'll pull one up on the screen and show you the...
Post in the comments below if you think that the person on the duress card from Ixalan is a man or a woman.
And it's not this one on screen, because this is one from Iconic Masters. So that's not the same one. Where is it? Where are you at? So that's not the same one. That's the old one.
It might be the same person.
No, she's an elf. Can't you tell she's got ears?
You can't see the ears on this person.
That's not her. All right. Next one, 2 of Heartless Pillage, 3-drop. Target opponent discards 2 cards. So not only are you discarding 2, which is 4 life, or 1, it's just 2. You know what I'm saying? It's 4 life if they have the 2 cards to discard.
That's heartless.
It is heartless. That's horrible. Plus, you also get a token if you attack with a creature that turn. So if you need an extra mana, there you go. Swing away with one of your hopeful flyers, and you'll get a free mana. Alright, Lay Bare the Heart, 2-drop. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose a non-legendary card from it. That player discards that card. So that helps because now this gives you the option to pull creatures out. Duress didn't give you options for creatures, just for spells, but this gets you creature options. Just non-legendary, of course. Which apparently coming in Dominaria, that's going to be almost a useless card. Just saying.
Everything's legendary.
Everything. Alright, so it's 3 copies of Lay Bare the Heart. I'm not sure if I said that or not. And moving to the next one, dual-sided card, Never Return. So obviously it's a 3-drop, destroy target creature or planeswalker. With 2 copies of this, that helps. You obviously get rid of another creature, or if somebody does happen to have planeswalkers out there. There's not a whole lot that gets rid of a planeswalker other than taking its loyalty counters down. So having a removal like this, or Vraska's Contempt, but that's not here in this deck, but this is another option. So that's there, and then the other half to that is your return. So Aftermath, you play from the graveyard, exile it, and you get a 2/2 black zombie creature. Since creature creature count is only 14. That zombie is kind of like if you don't have anything else to play, but you got the mana for it, I'll put a zombie out there. I had 2 last night. I had no other creatures. That was in my field, my graveyard. I had 4 mana. I put a zombie out there, and the next turn I put a one with a wind on it. So I had a 4/4 flying zombie, and that was all I had. It was just a horrible draw, and I was swinging with a zombie for every turn I could. It was exciting. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, that is exciting.
2 copies of that. And then, of course, a good. I always say, of course, like they should know this should be in here. But walk the plank, destroy target non-merfolk creature.
Of course, they're close. It's black. Of course, they're walk the plank.
Why wouldn't you have it in there? So 2 copies of that. So that's generally the basis. You can see what this deck is designed around. It's mostly, hey, your opponents.
Walk the plank is the budget fatal push.
Yeah, your opponents aren't going to play anything if you got good cards in your hand. You're just going to keep telling them to discard, and then they're going to be pissed off. So. It works out. I actually played one of my games last night. I didn't get what I wanted. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Ran Past Lands. Anyway, so also the lands. I'll talk in a minute. I'm a chatterbug. So Drowned Catacomb, obviously blue-black dual land. Evolving Wilds, 4 of those for the Drowned Catacomb. 2 little measly islands, so you can actually search for them with your Evolving Wilds. And then 3 swamps. Now you can...
3?
3. I said 13.
13.
Yeah. I didn't say 3. I said 13. Oh, I hit my swamp. Can I go back?
Yeah. I don't know how.
How do you go back? Anyway, you don't really need to see the screen anymore because that was all the cards. But the deck played pretty well last night, getting what I wanted out of it. But it had a real problem trying to finalize the finish. But that's just a draw. Sometimes you get the draw, sometimes you don't. But I like the way it works, and it's definitely probably better for a one-on-one game for sure, in comparison to like a 2-headed giant. Now you can play a 2-headed giant, but you got to worry about multiple spells because you're playing more than one person. So there you have it, folks.
How much does this one cost?
Oh yes. So Keller's was $107. This sweet budget deck is $38.32.
Budget, and you can have no friends after you make them discard all their crap.
Yeah, and the only thing to make that any cheaper for the most part is taking Drawn Catacombs out and putting something else in there.
Hey, if you want to have no friends, here's $40.
Yeah, here's $40 to make me throw my stuff in the graveyard. Way to go, jerk. All right, so there's our double deck tech for the day. And we have a random draw that we are going to do for next week's deck tech. And button is pressed and go.
We get Prepare to Fight.
Ooh, dual-sided card. What is that?
From Amonkhet.
Amonkhet. White-green.
White-green.
All right.
Prepare is white and one other. You see it on the screen here. Untap target creature. It gets +2/+2 and life link until end of turn. And then you can prey upon for 4.
An expensive prey upon, yes.
The fight from the graveyard is a 4-drop. Target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. So the fight side of that sucks, but the prepare side's not too bad.
Hey, we're going to use it. We're going to play the fight, and it's going to happen.
Well, maybe we just put prey upon in the deck and
then
call it a day.
Call it a day.
So we'll have a prepare to fight deck next week, and then also we're going to be starting up a new series called Less Magic More Gathering Top Picks, and this first week we're going to do our favorite commanders.
Woohoo!
Less Magic More Gathering Top Picks commanders. So we will each pick out, one or two.
I'm going to pick out the one I use because it's fun.
Of our favorite commanders, and we'll build a short video on why we like those. So that's it for the deck tech this week. Look forward next week. Follow us on YouTube here. Hit subscribe. The button's right down yonder.
Yeah.
Make sure you turn on the notifications. We're going to start doing, I think, more giveaways because obviously people like to get stuff, and those are by far our most watched videos.
Oh yeah. Speaking of giveaways, shout out to Woot MTG. Right, I think that's right. I'll probably get that wrong.
No, I think that was right.
Okay. Anyway, good job on the video naming that card. It was Galta Primal Hunger from the Store Championship. So you are the winner for that giveaway.
Make sure
your information.
Make sure you post a comment on that video letting him know he won too.
Yes, I will. I did. Well, I told him he got it right. I didn't say anything about winning, but I hope he figures that out. I said, good job, you got it right.
Maybe.
Is that you won? Should
Yeah.
I put? I'll post another one. You won, by
Yeah.
the way.
All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Check us out next time. Deuces.
Deuces.